Alright, so we're back, and we're on the fifth reality here of the seven. I'm just going to go ahead and start us out. The only real knowledge is the knowledge that God is the inner dweller in good people and in so-called bad, in saint and in so-called sinner. This knowledge requires you to help all equally as circumstances demand, without expectation of reward. And when compelled to take part in a dispute, to act without the slightest trace of enmity or hatred, to try to make others happy with brotherly or sisterly feeling for each one, to harm no one in thought, word, or deed, not even those who harm you. I mean, this reality is pretty much, I feel it's the hardest hitter because it's just actionable. It's nothing. The first one, the only real existence is that of the one and only God who is the self in every self. Yeah, true. And then you can apply that, but of course, this one's very obvious that you have directions here. We all have directions here. I have very clear directions to have a brotherly or sisterly feeling for all, even those who harm me or hurt me. I mean, that's not easy. And it led me down the rabbit hole of nonviolence and nonviolence of the brave and nonviolent nonviolence. I'm pretty sure that's what he calls it. Well, it's the one, there's this echelon, basically, of nonviolence. True nonviolence is love infinite. Well, and then below love infinite is nonviolence of the brave. Love infinite is literally having no animosity in your heart, no matter what the circumstances are. But the nonviolence of the brave is when, your fellows are being attacked and you need to protect them. You feel the need to protect them, fidelity. And that's important. And actually, he was saying it's important that you start somewhere. For most people, it seems it's good to start. And I agree with this. I feel if you're going to start somewhere with nonviolence, start with at least not thinking about yourself so much and protect other people using violence. Ultimately, it's violence if you're using force that is violent and not with love in your heart, but you're using aggression that has some anger in it, some violence in it. Because ultimately, what I've learned through meditation is not that violence is necessarily a specific act, though it usually is. It's actually whether or not you're creating an impurity. And the law, universal law, written in our own heart, has decided that when you try to harm another being, in order to harm that other being, you necessarily must create an impurity. You, in your mind, must have an impurity in it in order to harm another being. So Baba's saying, what I know from experience is that ultimately I see a fly or a mosquito eating me. It's the only reason that I would hit that mosquito is because of identity, of ego, of selfishness. And that wouldn't be love infinite. That would be very selfish. It would be me saying kill that thing, it's hurting me. But if you do the meditation deep enough, you start to realize it's just sensations. This body isn't even really my body, actually. But it's through your own experience, right? He's not saying to just suddenly, just intellectually start applying this knowledge of nonviolence, suddenly you just lay there like a vegetable and let people cut you. No, even it feels in times of great need, it is necessary to step up and do something that is violent, in the sense that it is nonviolence of the brave. So you are protecting something, you're taking care of a situation in the way that it needs to be. And I think it's important to note, for example, it's important to remember that it's not that Baba is saying, I don't think Baba is saying, it's all for introspection, this is just my opinions. I'm sharing that I feel that Baba, as Jesus came and he flipped the tables of the money changers. He was very aggressive, but he didn't do it with animosity. I feel he did it with all the love, all the compassion and goodwill for others, because he saw something that wasn't good for people, that was not right, what was happening outside the temple. And it's the same in this incarnation, and even the Bhagavad Gita would be a good example of a metaphorical annihilation of all your attachments, and also a realistic war that actually happens between you and other, where you must fight your own attachments in order to do the right thing, and to live for truth ultimately. It even goes to show it's all about, and there's an element to it that's about, it's about ego, it's about pride. Even Rumi and Shams had to do this thing about, Rumi had to go and carry the wine in front of all the villagers. Everybody had to see, yeah, okay, so that guy, he's supposed to be a kind of spiritual guy, but look, he's got all that wine with him, just to break your ego, break you in that sense, to break you free from these ideas, identities. But I want to say that my point in saying that is it connects to the fifth, because with the fifth, it's all about brotherly or sisterly love. How can you have brotherly, sisterly love if there is an identity, if there's a person there that is, I'm not saying ego is bad, but I will say that certain formations don't ultimately serve us. It's very hard to be greedy and also have a brotherly or sisterly love for others. Same with anger or hatred. It's hard to have hatred and also brotherly, sisterly love, because in both of those situations you're righteous. You're righteous in you're greedy. You want the money so much that, in some sense it's hard to imagine someone who's greedy who can also have brotherly, sisterly love. They just don't go together, because you want something that isn't here so much that you can't really be here. And I would say the fifth is all about being here, because it seems, where else are you going to have this no trace of enmity or hatred for any other being? Where is that going to be? It's only ever going to be right here in this moment. And how do you attend to that? Well, that is the difficulty, and I would say that is the task, is to how he's basically, I feel, saying to be 100% all your chips invested in this present moment, because at any moment any of these impurities might come in, where you have you want to harm someone, or in word, thought, or deed, any of those three, you might want to, in any of those formats, want to harm someone. So where else are you going to keep guard of your temple? Is going to be right here. That's what I get from this, is just to be on guard of the temple, and the only way to do that is to be here and to be very present, to be very clear now. And it does not mean not to attend to responsibilities. Obviously, that's like that's part of this, and so it's important. I feel that's a very difficult task. I have an experience where some friends were having an argument with a guy in Peru, and it felt that they maybe had forgotten that he's also a human being. It wasn't like so intense, but there was just so much animosity and anger in the group that at that moment, or just tension, whatever it was, that they were unable to connect to the humanness of this being. And maybe he was also, I don't know what part he played in all of it, but I noticed when I walked over and I started to deal with the situation, not by trying to fix it, I just simply walked over and I was like, I felt like I was applying a fifth principle. I was going, okay, God is the inner dweller of all, of good people and bad people. Whether this guy's a good person or a bad person, Bob is in there. How do I maintain, like, he's my brother. Whether I like it or not, that guy's my brother. So I'm not just going to walk up and smack him on the face. I'm going to have brotherly feeling for this person, give him my attention, and have the sense that he's worthy. I'm worthy, he's worthy. Okay, here we go. And I would say it's also a big piece about learning how I am worthy, in that sense that I'm worthy of having brotherly love for others, of having a connection to the person in front of me. I am worthy of that. And I think actually a lot of times people are afraid of really standing in that. There's a lot of power there. Your power to take over your castle, your temple, and be in charge of it is something that happens as soon as we go, oh, I am connected. We become very, very powerful. And that in itself feels what is being asked of us is to truly to do our best. I mean, it's not easy. No one ever says easy, but to try not to harm others, you know, and that takes being very present right now and here. I mean, from my own experience with meditation, it's not easy to be present. I see the mind, it's here, there, it's reacting to this, reacting to that. It's a very difficult puzzle piece to piece together and realize that just keep your attention on the here. And how to even do that? I mean, Baba says to keep your attention, you know, on him, and I think these principles are actually the meditation in themselves. Like when we put them all together, it's almost as if to understand these realities and keep him with us, we are never alone, and we always have him there guiding us, and that in itself is a meditation, and it's a really beautiful one. So I'm just gonna leave it there. That's my takeaway from the fifth, and I thought I'd share that. I think it's probably a really powerful one for you as well. Let me know in the comments, and feel free to like and subscribe to the video. It boosts it up, bumps it up, and more people get to introspect about this kind of stuff, you know, about Meher Baba. And I mean, it's new oatmeal. It's good stuff. This is all fresh. It's not old. It's not old religion. This is new information. Same eternal truths, just delivered to us in a nice warm bowl with some goji berries on top. So, ciao. Jai Baba.